Hello everyone, myself Deepa Singh, working as assistant professor in Gyan Vihar School of Pharmacy, SGU Jaipur. Today we discuss about renal impairment and functions. In previous lecture, we already covered the renal excretion or how the renal excretion takes place, including different factors that are responsible for renal excretion or improper excretion, and different mechanism how these excretions takes place. So today in this lecture, we discuss or continue our previous lecture and this renal impairment or how the renal dysfunction or renal problem is occur and what are the renal impairment and different problems and including function of renal. So in this lecture, we majorly covered renal impairment and their functions, and it is a topic of biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetic subject, 6th semester subject. Before starting this topic or starting this lecture, we should know about some learning object or basic object of this topic. In this, these are the learning object, and in the learning object, the first is introduction of the renal impairment. Means what is the renal impairment, or introduction regarding or complete description regarding the renal impairment. What is the renal impairment, how it occurred, and what are the problem. All these complete introduction regarding the renal impairment. And next is different causes of renal failure, how the renal failure is occurred or renal failure is what condition and what are the factors that are responsible for renal failure, and different renal function, how renal work or function of this renal or kidney, different mechanism of these renal including function. Dose as adjustment in kidney problem means if person or he or she may be suffering some kidney problem or some disease of a kidney, then in this condition how you adjust dose or how dose adjustment is required. Next is intracorporeal removal of the drug, how you remove this extra or maybe remaining extracorporeal drug that is present in your renal. And next is biliary excretion. So these are the basic learning object that we should know before starting this lecture or include this topic in detail in this lecture. So these are the learning object, and in this, renal impairment is a common cause of a kidney failure. Means you can also see that these impairment means kidney failure or causing a kidney failure. So this kidney failure is another name or also known as renal impairment. And there is some disease or some condition when the renal failure is occur. And what are the observation for this renal impairment? In this, first is pyelonephritis. Pyelonephritis is the inflammation and deterioration of pyelonephritis due to infection, antigen, or any other idiopathic causes. And if there's a different factor that may show these type of the problem or different responsible factors or some problem that show pyelonephritis, in this major is maybe inflammation or deterioration periodic you observe, maybe inflammation or swelling is observed in that area, or maybe slowly deterioration is also observed in this area. And this is mainly due to some antigen or any other idiopathic causes or maybe some infection in particular area. So this pyelonephritis. And next is hypertension. It also shows this kidney failure. And in this, chronic overloading of the kidney with fluid and electrolytes may lead to kidney insufficiency. Means if person or he or she suffering some problem of heart, or in this condition you are taking more amount of a dose or some electrolytes or any other fluids, like chronic overloading is observed of the kidney. And in this condition, fluid and electrolytes may lead to, or those fluid or electrolytes that you are taking during this hypertension may show kidney insufficiency, and the insufficiency has or show the kidney impairment. Next is diabetic mellitus. Diabetic mellitus is also another factor, and person who have diabetes or diabetic patient also have a severe problem, or maybe or she suffer this impairment or kidney failure. In this, disturbance of sugar metabolites, acid-base balance may lead to or may predispose patient to degenerative renal disease. Means proper sugar balance is show some problem or imbalances occurs between these acid and base, and sugar metabolism. Due to this metabolism or imbalance between the acid and base show some disease, or that particular patient suffer to that particular disease. Then in this condition, this renal failure, renal impairment is occur in case of diabetes and mellitus patient. Next is nephrotoxic drug and matters. If you are taking some drug or some metal ion, those who are nephrotoxic, then it is also show this impairment problem. Certain drug taken chronically may cause irreversible kidney damage. An example of these drugs are aminoglycoside, panacetin, and heavy metals such as mercury and leads. These type of a drug are nephrotoxic in nature. These metal is also nephrotoxic in nature and show these renal failure and renal impairment problem in this. Maybe you are some drug or maybe some metal ion. In this metal ion, maybe mercury and leads, and in drug is examples aminoglycoside, phenacetin type of the drug may show a problem, this renal impairment like problem. And next is hypovolemia. Hypovolemia is also one condition which also shows some renal impairment problem or renal failure. And in this, hypovolemia is any condition that cause a reduction in renal blood flow, will be eventually less renal ischemia and damage. Means due to this hypovolemia, it affects blood flow rate, or proper blood flow is not observed, poor blood flow is observed, and due to this poor blood flow, there's reduction of the flow rate, eventually leads to renal ischemia and damage in your renal part or in your kidney. Next is nephroallergens. Nephroallergens are also a condition in this renal failure is observed, and in this nephroallergens is a certain compound may produce an immune type of sensitivity reaction with nephronic syndrome, example Cureton, malaria, and nephrotoxicity serum. So these are the problems that may be observed in nephroallergens and that show some renal impairment problem or kidney failure. Next, in this renal impairment, kidney is a regulatory body fluid and as well as electrolyte balance, means kidney have a multiple function. It regulate body fluid as well as some electrolyte balance is also help proper balancing by this renal takes place, and removal of metabolites waste and drug excretion from the body. Means renal is very important part of your body, you can say that, and it play important role in various functions. And this may be it regulate body fluid or proper body fluid maintained by this renal. Electrolyte balance, if any deficiency or another problem is occur, then in this condition, these kidney helps to balance the electrolyte or proper maintain the electrolyte balance in your body, as well removal of metabolites waste, some metabolite waste which is present in your body. So these metabolite waste are easily removed by your body or by renal, so there may be less chances of showing toxic effect or more problem due to these metabolite or metabolite waste are completely removed your body with the help of these renal. And next is drug excretion from the body. If you are taking a drug and those drug having a more dose or some drug is not completely absorbed, even not reabsorbed in this condition, and these drug remains present in your body and maybe show some toxic or unwanted effect. In this condition, these type of a drug get easily removed or excrete out from your body with the help of this renal route or by this kidney. Next is impairment or degeneration of a kidney function, means affect the pharmacokinetics of the drug. If some kidney dysfunction is occur or affect pharmacokinetic problem of the drug, in this impairment is occur. Next is causes of a kidney failure. In this different causes that is responsible for this kidney failure. So in causes of a kidney failure, different causes are responsible that affect the kidney failure or responsible for this kidney failure. And this causes of a kidney failure, first is disease, injury, or any other intoxication may responsible for this kidney failure. If he or she suffering some disease and due to this condition, kidney failure is occur, or maybe some injury condition that also responsible for this kidney failure. And next, in this drug intoxication is also responsible. And acute disease or trauma to the kidney can cause uremia. A person has some problem of a kidney, and in this mainly uremia is observed in this acute disease or trauma type of a kidney problem causes uremia, and which are glomerular filtration is impaired or reduced. Due to this, there's a glomerular filtration rate may be changed or impaired or improper is observed, or maybe in this condition reduced glomerular filtration is observed, and lending to accumulation of excessive fluid and body nitrogenous products in the body. Due to this, large amount of excessive fluid is present, or accumulation of more fluid or more nitrogenous substance are present in your blood or product in your body. So these all are the conditions which show renal impairment or pre-renal failure type condition. And kidney is also very important part of your body, as well as kidney play important roles for different function and different uses of this kidney. After this, there's uremia. What is uremia? In this, reduced glomerular filtration rate or active secretion leads to increase in renal drug excretion and longer elimination half-life. Means uremia is a condition, and or you can say that uremia is a renal condition or one problem. In this, mainly we can observe this condition by the help of certain symptoms, like due to this uremia, glomerular filtration rate is reduced or less filtration is observed, as well as active secretion is also reduced and low secretion takes place. And due to this low secretion or glomerular filtration rate is decreased, this leads to or may help to increase renal excretion, not increase but decrease the renal excretion, because active secretion and glomerular filtration rate is already reduced, and this reduced rate may be decreased or helps to reduce the renal excretion of the drug to your body. And longer elimination half-life is observed for in this condition or uremia. More half-life is observed for a particular drug or a compound. And next is declining renal function leads to, if renal function is improper or declining, then in this condition, disturbance in electrolytes and fluid balance is observed. Your electrolytes as well as fluids are not properly balanced condition. It may be showing some imbalance problem. And next is physiological and metabolic changes. Means both physiological condition and metabolic changes is observed in this condition or renal function or renal failure. Both physiological and metabolic work is not proper condition. Next is alter the pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic of the drug. Means both absorption, distribution, and metabolism excretion is also disturbed due to this uremia, and not only aiding maybe, but also pharmacokinetic effect or therapeutic effect is also may vary, maybe increase or decrease. Don't require a sufficient amount of pharmacological responses observed in this uremia condition. Next is drug distribution and elimination is also altered distribution as well as elimination. In elimination, both excretion and metabolism may be vary due to this uremia. As well as uremic patient have a special dosing consideration to account for such as pharmacodynamic and kinetic alteration. In this condition, dose of that particular patient is also changed, maybe require less dose or maybe more dose due to changes in some pharmacodynamic and kinetic parameter of your body, or sufficient or accurate pharmacokinetic and dynamic response is not observed in the uremia or in the condition of uremia. Next is a renal function. So renal function can be estimated by measuring glomerular filtration rate, means how much filtration takes place through this glomerular rate, or you can check this renal function with the help of amount of excretion or filtration rate through this glomerulus. And markers should be used like creatinine or inulin type of the marker you use for measurement. And inulin clearance is the 10-days method, like creatinine clearance means large method. When we see these two markers, creatinine and inulin, these are the two markers that you use for renal function checking or proper glomerular filtration rate. But out of these two markers, creatinine and inulin is a more lengthy method or 10-days method. And in creatine clearance, we can say that in body produced during muscle metabolism or some body catabolism or muscle catabolism is observed in creatine clearance. And next is no need to collect urine. In this, no urine sample is required. You directly measure or check that renal function or filtration rate. No need to collect urine sample, and need to measure serum creatine. But in this, you check or take the sample of serum creatine concentration. With the help of this serum creatine concentration, you usually measure the function of your kidney or your renal. Next is creatine production varies with age, sex, and weight. This creatine marker or production of this creatine is also not same for all type of the patient or all the person. It may be very or a different factor that is responsible to showing some variation in the creatine. And this creatine production is vary maybe due to age group or sex or some weight group. These are the factors that may has to proper imbalance between or showing imbalance between concentration of the creatine. And after this, Creatine clearance is the renal clearance or applied to endogenous creatine. Means you also say that renal clearance is nothing but the creatine clearance. It is another name of this, and in this applied for mainly endogenous creatine type material. And in this, it is used to monitor renal function, and it is a valuable parameter. Means it helps to monitor or control the renal function or renal activity with the help of this creatine clearance. And a valuable parameter for calculating dosage regimen is elderly patient or those suffering from a renal dysfunction. Means some patient or who are elderly patient, or he or she may be suffering some renal dysfunction. In this condition, this creatine clearance may be vary or showing improper clearance. And next is normal creatine clearance is value R. Next, in this normal creatine clearance value is adult male and adult female values. And if we see them in male values, it's approximately 120 plus minus 20 ml per minute. This is too high. In males, that is 120 in a single minute or in a ml in per minute. It may vary plus minus 20 ml. And when we see these values in adult female, it is also high, but comparatively to male, it's a low. That is only 108 plus minus 20 ml per minute. This also in 1 minute is 108 ml and may vary plus minus 20 ml. And normal serum creatine concentration in this is adult man is 8 to 13 mg liter, and is approximately 0.8 to 1.3 mg per liter. And for adult women, it is also very, that is 6 to 10 mg liter. Approximate, this is 0.6 to 1 mg per liter. So this is the condition or creatine concentration in man and adult woman. In man, it observed high compared to women, but not too much difference is observed between this man and woman creatine. And for children, is the one formula for children who is 1 to 20 years or between 1 to 20 years, and in this clearance is equal to 0.48 H divided by S clearance, and in bracket W divided by 70.07. For adult above 20 years means in this condition age group having more than 20. Then for males formula is clearance is equal to 0.48 minus H bracket close into W divided by 72 SCR. And in case of a female, it's a clearance is equals to 0.48 minus H into W divided by 85 S clearance. So this is the formula for females. And next is a direct method for creatine clearance. How you check directly how much creatine is present or creatine concentration in your body. So in this urine sample is required, or you should collect urine sample for determination of this creatine clearance, and this is a direct method. And in this urine collect sample is approximately 24 hours is required. Once you collect urine sample up to 24 hours or at least 24 hours reading of urine sample is required for this creatine clearance determination or whether this direct method. And this direct method, there's one formula for determination of a clearance. So this is a formula in this clearance of creatinine. The renal excretion renal function is equals to ratio of rate of creatine excretion divided by serum creatine in mg percentage. Means how much creatine and rate of creatine excretion divided by serum containing serum creatine in mg percentage. And RF is calculated by clearance of a patient divided by clearance of a normal person. Once you compare these value or this creatine value with creatine person, or he may be suffering from that particular patient with normal patient, you directly compare two person. One is healthy person and one is you are suffering this this function or this renal failure problem. So this is also one ratio of a patient as well as normal person. And this is a renal impairment based on the creatine clearance. This table is having a age group or description of that particular age group and estimated clearance of creatine in ml per minute. And this first group is 1, and in this first group normal renal function is observed and estimated creatine clearance is more than 80 ml per minute. And second is mild renal impairment, and in this 50 to 80 ml per minute creatinine clearance is observed. And third group is moderate renal impairment. In this moderate renal impairment is 30 to 50 ml per minute estimated creatinine clearance is observed. And in fourth group, severe renal impairment is observed if it's less than 30 ml per minute of creatinine clearance. And next is ESRD, and this required dialysis is observed in creatinine clearance. So these are the renal impairment based condition which is showing creatinine clearance, how much clearance creatinine is observed in particular group. This is a graph of renal function. In this mainly we are plotting renal serum creatinine. This one is your serum creatinine in this axis in mg per 100 ml, and this is a percentage of normal dosage. How much dosage or normal percentage is required for your formulation. Next is reduced dosage monogram creatinine clearance ml per minute inverse divided 1.73 meter square. In this, when we draw the graph, it shows increase of higher concentration of this serum creatinine in particular dose or particular normal dosage, and here is a straight line is observed. So this is a graph of normal for tocopherolacin on aminoglycoside antibiotic drug facts that comprise 5680-2002. So this is a graph of renal function. In this mainly serum creatinine and dosage of that particular normal dosage is we calculate or check the creatinine clearance. Next is dose adjustment in renal disease. If he or she or that particular patient is suffering from renal disease or renal problem, then how you adjust these dose or how you select that proper dose. In this, required dose in a patient with renal impairment can be calculated by formula. And in this formula, RF is equals to clearance of a patient divided by clearance of a normal person. Means how much clearance of that particular patient is observed, and you compare these clearance of a patient with normal person or fit person which don't have any renal disease or renal problem, and drug dose in renal impairment is equals to normal dose into RF. So when we just simplify this formula, then when we calculate the renal impairment or drug dose in renal impairment, it is the normal dose into RF value. And dosing interval in patient with renal impairment can be calculated by if some dosing interval, or we are deciding how much dose is required for he or she or those that person who have a renal impairment or some renal disease problem. Then you calculate these dosing interval by the following formula. In this formula, dosing interval is the ratio of, or dosing interval is equals to normal interval in R divided by RF. So it's a ratio of normal interval in R divided by RF value for calculating dosing interval. Next is extracorporeal removal of the drug. So what is extracorporeal removal of the drug? In this patient with end stage and renal disease and intoxication patient, then in this condition is known as extracorporeal. This patient is the end stage, or he or she may be suffering from some renal disease, and these diseases the end stage and intoxication of the patient is observed. In this result of a drug overdose, due to you provide more dose or overdosing of a drug, show this type of the problem, and required supportive treatment means you should check that particular patient time to time, and supportive treatment is required for this extracorporeal or some problem. Next is to remove accumulate drug and its metabolize. In this condition, you completely remove all the drug which is present in your body, or those drugs who can accumulate in your body, as well as metabolites which is present in your body. Next, in this, several methods are available for extracorporeal removal of the drug. There's a different method is available for this extracorporeal removal of the drug. In this one is hemoperfusion method, and second is hemofiltration method, and third one is dialysis method. These are the three methods that is available for removal of extracorporeal of the drug, extracorporeal removal of the drug. And in this, the object of these method is rapidly removal of undesirable drug and metabolites from your body without disturbing the flow and electrolyte balance in a patient. Means these method is mainly used to remove or rapidly remove undesirable drug or those drug which is not in good form or maybe unwanted or not suitable for your body, as well as metabolites. So in this method, the main object of this method is rapidly remove some unwanted metabolites or undesirable drug by your body without disturbing your body function or without disturbing your body or fluid or electrolyte balance of that particular patient, and don't disturb any other function of your body. You just remove toxic matter of drug or metabolites without disturbing fluid and acid base balance or electrolyte balance of your body and the patient. And now we discuss the method. In this first is dialysis, and in this dialysis is the artificial process in which accumulation of a drug or waste metabolites are removed by diffusion from the body in the dialysis method. Yes, these dialysis method is mainly used to remove the excessive material or metabolites that is present in your body, and accumulation of a drug is also removed with the help of this dialysis method or with the help of this dialysis technique. And there's a two common dialysis treatment are, one is peritoneal dialysis, second is hemodialysis. These are the two common treatment for dialysis method, and in this both process work on the principle that our uremic blood and fluid is equilibrated with dialysis fluid across a dialysis membrane. Means this work for both uremic condition, including blood as well as fluid equilibrium condition of the dialysis fluid across the dialysis membrane, and the waste metabolites from the patient blood and fluid diffused in the dialysis fluid are removed with the help of this dialysis method. This extra matter or extra metabolites, or you can say that fluid which is present in patient blood and some diseases remove or easily excrete out or remove out from your body with the help of this dialysis. And in this dialysis contain water, dextrose, electrolytes, and electrolytes mainly potassium, sodium chloride, bicarbonate, acetate, and calcium are included. These are the electrolytes which contain dialysites and the water also, and other elements similar to normal body fluid without the toxin. And not only these limited electrolytes, other than these electrolytes and water, some other toxin which is not similar or not appropriate for your body also removed with dialysis technique, or help for removing these toxins from your body with the help of this dialysis. Next method is peritoneal dialysis. In this dialysis, peritoneal membrane is the abdomen used as the filter. Hence, this peritoneal is nothing but the one membrane has to remove the matter or membrane of the abdomen used to filter out these unwanted drug and metabolites. And this peritoneum consists of visceral and peritoneal components, means different visceral as well as parietal components are present in this method. And peritoneum membrane provide a large natural surface area. In this dialysis method, large surface area is required, and these methods provide large surface area for the membrane, and the surface area for diffusion is approximately about 1 to 2 meter per square. Means surface area for this diffusion of peritoneal dialysis method is 1 to 2 meter square area is required. And next is a membrane is permeable to solute of a molecular weight is 30,000 Dalton is required. When some molecule or solute which have a weight is approximately 30,000 Dalton, easily permeable in this membrane, and approximately 70 ml per minute comes into a contact with peritoneum. Its normal range is approximate 70 ml per minute as we observe, and come in contact with peritoneum type of the drug. And in this, placenta of a peritoneal capsules is surgically than hemodialysis. Means these placement of peritoneal catheters are easily installed or considered more simpler than surgical hemolysis, and does not require vascular surgery and heparization also in this peritoneal dialysis. It's very simple, not any vascular surgery or heparization is necessary for this dialysis technique. As well as in this dialysis, fluid is pumped in the peritoneal cavity. The waste metabolites in the body fluid discharge rapidly. Means some metabolites or drug which is unwanted or not properly present, or waste metabolites present in your body, easily discharged or rapidly discharged by this peritoneal dialysis. And this mainly dialysis fluid is pumped out with the help of this peritoneal cavity, so that easily metabolites are removed, or waste metabolites and drug are easily discharged in rapid rate. And next is dialysate is drained and fresh dialysate is restrained and drained periodically. Means properly drainage or washing or maintenance of this dialysis is required. You should dialysate is drained and fresh dialysis is reinstalled in this dialysis method, and drainage periodically. You should maintain these dialysis periodically, or proper cleaning and reinstallation is also required for this peritoneal dialysis. As well as peritoneal dialysis is also more amenable to self-treatment, means not more treatment is required. It is a self-treated or easily treated method for peritoneal dialysis. And slower drug clearance rate are obtained. In this, clearance rate is slow, or not rapid rate of clearance is observed with peritoneal dialysis compared to hemolysis, and these the longer dialysis required time, or more time is required for this dialysis. And this is all about the peritoneal dialysis. And in this continuation of peritoneal dialysis, and there is a continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, that is CAPD. Now, full form of this CAPD is continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis. It is the most common form of peritoneal dialysis. It's a part of this peritoneal dialysis, that is CAPD. And many diabetic patients become uremic as a result of lack control of diabetic. Means some person may have a control or diabetic patient who have a uremic condition or result of lack of this diabetes, and about 2 liters of dialysis fluid is installed in peritoneal cavity of the patient. Means approximately 2 liters of a fluid or peritoneal fluid is inserted in this peritoneal cavity, and patients who surgical place resident catheter, and this replacement of the fluid is mainly due to some surgery, or with the help of surgery, or some catheters also helps to replace this fluid, and the amount of this installation of a dialysis fluid is approximately 2 liters. Next is the objective is to remove accumulate urea and other metabolite waste in the body. Yes, this method is not sufficient, but in this method you can also remove some accumulate, or easily remove those accumulate stored in your body. In this will include a urea or large molecule metabolites or waste metabolites which is present or continuously accumulate in your body is also removed with the help of this peritoneal dialysis. This is also important for removing of metabolites, urea and other waste material in your body. Next is the catheter is sealed and patient is able to continuous in ambulatory mode. You continuously use that catheter and seal this catheter, and continuous moving is observed in this ambulatory mode of this peritoneal dialysis. Next is every 4 to 6 hours the fluid is emptied from a peritoneal cavity and replaced with fresh dialysis medium. Means you should maintain the proper sick condition, not to continue these practical or these dialysis for long period of a time. You should replace these fluid every 4 to 6 hours, or after every 4 to 6 hours. You should feel fresh fluid condition or fluid dialysis fluid in this peritoneal dialysis. Don't perform too long time period with the help of by the using of same fluid. You should remove this dialysis fluid in every 4 to 6 hours. Next, in this, the techniques used about 2 liters of a dialysis fluid. In this technique, mainly we require to the dialysis fluid, or at least minimum requirement is 2 liters, and it does not require dialysis machine and usually perform at a home. Means no specific machine is required for this peritoneal dialysis. You can also perform this dialysis in your home also. Next method is hemodialysis, and this hemodialysis means as a dialysis machine and artificial membrane. Means in this condition you set up the condition according to your body requirement, and dialysis machine is required, and one artificial membrane is required for this hemodialysis, and require access to blood vessels to allow the blood to flow dialysis machine and back to the body. In this, we can easily access, or we are just taking an example of machine according to your body. And in this access of a blood vessel, you allow to blood flow easily, or flowing of a blood to the dialysis membrane back to the body. And one tube is inserted into artery and another tube is inserted into vein. Means there are the two tube present in your body or this machine, and this one tube you insert in your vein or in your another tube is insert in your artery. And in this, the tube are joined above the skin, and these two vein are joined just above the skin or into the skin. And in this artificial needle allow to flow the blood or blood flow to dialysis machine, and blood is returned to patient to the venous side. Means this is not sufficient amount of construction, but in this artificial blood flow is also required. In this machine you supply the blood with this machine or this dialysis machine, and in this blood is returned to the patient to the venous side, and heparin is used to prevent blood clotting during the dialysis period. Means you should apply or supply these artificial blood flow, and these blood flow is not clot. Due to this protection of clotting problem, we prevent with the help of heparin, and heparin you use to prevent this blood clotting. And during hemodialysis, the waste material is removed from your body by diffusion through artificial membrane before the blood is returned to your body. With the help of this artificial membrane or with the help of this dialysis membrane, the waste metabolites or waste material easily removed through your body. And before artificial membrane reaches in your blood is returned to your body, this complete procedure takes place. Means in this hemolysis method, more precaution or more arrangements are required. Artificial machine and artificial membrane is required, and you set according to your body requirement, as well as some artificial blood flow is required, and take care that this blood is not clotted. Due to this, or overcome these clotting problem, we are using heparin. And there is two insertion or two tubes are present. In this, one tube is attached with artery and another attached with capillary, and not in vein, not in capillary, it's attached with vein. And proper joining of this artery and capillary tube with skin takes place. Blood flow is also takes place. Due to this hemolysis, waste material or waste metabolites are easily transferred from blood or any other one part to another membrane part in your body. So this hemolysis is done. Next, in this, hemolysis is much more effective method for drug removal in overdosing or poisoning. Means if you are checking this renal failure problem in the condition, or if patient or he or she may be suffering from overdosing problem or some poisoning problem, then you use this method, or this is a more effective method compared to any other method. And dialysis may require from once every 2 days, 3 times a week. Means there is a specific time required for this dialysis. In this, once every week, every 2 to 3 times a week is required. Means you should do this procedure at least 2 to 3 times in a week or once a week, and which each treatment period lasting is 2 to 4 hours. Means these treatment is required 2 to 4 hours, or at least 2 to 4 hours, may vary depending on the problem of that particular patient. Next is the dosing of a drug in patient receiving hemodialysis is affected by greatly by frequency and type of dialysis machine used and by physicochemical pharmacokinetic property of the drug. Means other than these problems, and these dialysis is also depend on some physicochemical property as well as pharmacokinetic property of the drug. So these pharmacokinetic and physiological properties also responsible for hemodialysis property. This is a table for hemodialysis in this physical and pharmacokinetic property of a drug that is responsible. This first is water solubility. In this, insoluble or fat soluble drug are dialyzed. In this example is glutathione is very water insoluble. And next is protein binding. In this protein binding, tightly bound drug are not dialyzed, because dialysis is passive process of diffusion. In this example of protein binding is propranolol is 94% bound. And next is molecular weight. Molecular weight is also another factor or another problem responsible for this hemodialysis. In this molecular weight, only molecule with molecular weight of less than 500 Dalton are easily dialyzed. In this, vancomycin is poorly dialyzed, has a molecular weight of 1800. And in this, those molecules whose weight is less than 500 Dalton or 500 Dalton easily dialyzed. This is more in size and it shows poor dialysis problem. In this one example is vancomycin, and its molecular weight is 1800. And due to this large molecular weight, it will not dialyzed. Next, in physicochemical properties, drug with large volume of a distribution. In this drug, widely distributed are dialyzed by more slowly because the rate limiting factor is the volume of blood entering the machine. And example is digoxin, that is VD is equals to 250 to 300 liter. And drug concentration in the tissue are usually difficult to remove by dialysis. So this is some physicochemical and pharmacokinetic property of a drug that shows dialysis are responsible for this hemodialysis. Next, in this hemodialysis, the blood is pumped to dialyzer by roller pump at the rate of 300 to 450 ml per minute. Hence, this is a normal roller pump speed, that is 300 to 400 ml in a single minute or in a per minute. And drug metabolite diffuses from blood through semi-permeable blood membrane. So the dialysis is diffusion is takes place, and this diffusion is mainly with the help of semi-permeable membrane. And hydrostatic pressure force drug metabolites in dialysis, and ultrafiltration is takes place. And these dialysis machine used to hollow fiber or capillary dialyzer, in which the semi-permeable membrane is made into fine capillaries, of which thousands are packed into the bundle with blood flowing through capillaries, and diacet is circulated outside the capillary. Means not only single capillary is responsible, there's thousands of capillaries are present and form the bundle, and blood flowing is responsible of flow through this thousand or bundle of the capillaries. And the permeability characteristics of the membrane and membrane surface are the determination of drug diffusion, and ultrafiltration is mainly responsible. This is one table for characteristics of a dialysis machine according to different problems. And this blood flow is blood flow rate. And in this blood flow rate, higher blood flow gives higher clearance rate. And next is diacet. In this diacet, composition of a diacets and flow rate is responsible. Next is the dialysis membrane. In this, permeability characteristics and surface area is responsible. Then transmembrane pressure. In this, ultrafiltration increase with increase in transmembrane pressure. And duration frequency of dialysis is also responsible for this. Next is hemoperfusion. In this, hemoperfusion is the process of removing of drug by passing the blood from a patient through the adsorbent material and back to the patient. Means it also responsible for removing some material with the help of a blood or by passing the blood to patient to the some another patient or to that site. And useful procedure for rapid drug removal in accidental poisoning and drug overdosing. And drug molecule in the blood are in direct contact with the absorbent material. Any molecule that is great affinity for absorbent material will be removed. And the two main absorbent and hemoperfusions are included in this: activated charcoals, or which absorb both polar and non-polar drug. Next is amber-like resins are available in a soluble insoluble polymeric beads, and each beads containing agglomerates of a cross-linking polysorbital microsphere. And the amber-like resin have a greater affinity for non-polar organic molecule. Next is the factor of a drug removal of hemoperfusion, or some factor which is responsible for this hemoperfusion. And affinity of a drug for absorbent, surface area of the absorption, absorptive capacity of absorbent, and rate of blood flow through this absorbent, and equilibrium rate of blood to peripheral tissue of the blood. So these are the factors. It's different factor, maybe affinity of that particular drug or surface area of that particular absorbent, as well as capacity of that absorbent and the rate of flow through that absorbent and equilibrium of that particular drug at particular tissue and peripheral tissue. So these are the factors that will help removal of this hemoperfusion. Next is in this hemofiltration. Hemofiltration is a process by which electrolytes and a small molecular waste substance are removed from the body by means of a low pressure flow through hollow artificial fiber, plate fiber membrane. These are some artificial membrane, fiber or plate fiber membrane. In this, removal takes place of hemofiltration or electrolytes or small molecular waste substance are completely removed from your body at low pressure. Next is fluid is filtered by plasma during hemofiltration. Replacement fluid is administered to patient for volume of the replacement. And hemofiltration is slow continuous filtration process that remove nanoprotein bound or small molecule that is less than 10,000 Dalton from your body or blood by convective mass transport. And the clearance of a drug depend on the sieving coefficient or ultrafiltration rate method. And hemofiltration provide a creatinine clearance of approximately 10 ml per minute and may be limited use of the drug that bindly distributed in your body, such as aminoglycosides, cephalosporin, acyclovir. And major problem with this method is formation of a blood clot within the hollow fiber or filter fiber. Next is pylori excretion. This is another excretion or excretion site of the drug. In this pylori excretion, hepatic cells lining the bile canicula produce bile, and next is production. Secretion is active process, and secretion from the liver and stored in gallbladder, and secretion in the duodenum, and bile flow is 0.5 to 1 ml per minute, and digestion and reabsorption of the fat is occur, and 90% of absorbed back and transported to liver for resecretion, and 10% is excreted in the faeces, and process is capacity limited and gastro-saturated. The drug clearance value is 500 ml per minute. So this is regarding the pylori excretion. After completing this lecture or this topic, you should know about planning outcome in this, maybe introduction of a renal impairment or what is a renal impairment and how it occurs, and different causes of this renal failure or renal impairment, different renal function, how this renal function is responsible for showing different role or different mechanism, and dose adjustment and kidney problem and extracorporeal removal of the drug. So these are the learning outcome that you should know after completing this lecture or this topic. This is a bibliography or reference of this topic. Deeman Brahmankar, S.V. Jaiswal, Biopharmaceutics and Pharmacokinetics, Atrocity, Delhi, Bella Prakashan, 2010. Next is Ambedkar, S.S. B. Basic Pharmacokinetic, London Pharmaceutical Press, 2009. Next is Sargil L. Butong, UABC, Applied Biopharmaceutics and Pharmacokinetic, MC Group, till 2007. So these are the reference for this topic. Next, after this, there's a question part which is related to this topic. In this first question is renal clearance of inulin used to measurement of the effective renal blood flow, and B is rate of renal excretion, C is active renal secretion, D is glomerular filtration rate. And second question, which tissue has the greatest capacity of biotransfer of the drug? In this, A, kidney, B is liver, C is lung, and D is the skin. In third question, the initiated distribution of a drug in the tissue is determined chiefly by A is rate of blood flow to the tissue, B is GFR, glomerular filtration rate, C is tissue binding, D is protein binding. And fourth question, total body clearance is the drug eliminated elimination rate divided by plasma drug concentration. B is the drug elimination rate divided by volume of distribution. C is the amount of a drug in the body divided by plasma drug concentration. And this is the drug elimination rate divided by clearance. And this fifth question, A is a crystalline, B is amorphous, C is a hybrid, and C is a solvent form. And in fifth question, protein binding water has to maintain no sink condition, hydration, and solvation. Next, in seventh question, below mention all factor increase plasma elimination half-life, except A is a higher protein binding, B is a higher tissue binding, C is a higher apparent volume of distribution, D is a higher hepatic clearance. And in eighth question, when the solvent is association with drug as water, it is known as anhydrous, B is amorphous, C is hydrate, and D is solvent. In ninth question, the process in which some drugs are stimulate their own metabolites is known as enzyme inhibition, B is autoinduction, C is product inhibition, D is autoconduction. And in 10th question, the process in which some drugs stimulate their own metabolites is known as enzyme inhibition, second is autoinduction, and C is product inhibition, and D is autoconduction. So these are the 10 questions related to this topic. You can answer easily after completing this topic. So thank you so much for watching and listening this video. Thank you everyone.